Hey folks, welcome to the channel. I'm Matt Fast. Today we are going to be tying this beauty of a jig. I call it the Olive Dragon. It's basically three ingredients. You have rabbit strip for the tail, marabou for the wings, and some UV chenille for the body. And that'll be tied on a 16th ounce ball head, a black ball head jig. So stick around, stay tuned, and let's get the tying. In the vise, we have a 16th ounce black ball head jig. You can use other colors if you want. I only had black or pink, and black was more suited than pink for this jig. So we have a black ball head 16th ounce jig, and then we're gonna have some olive marabou, some olive rabbit zonker strips, and some dyed UV polar chenille olive color phase, or whatever they want to call it. And we're going to also be using some Ultra Thread 140 in yellow. And yeah, let's get started. It's a very simple jig, doesn't take very long to tie. It can be at times a little messy, just with getting the chenille and the marabou caught up together. You'll see maybe what I mean. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but it could happen. So we'll just get a little base of thread going here first, tie that back up, and then we'll take our olive rabbit zonker. I like to tie my rabbit, any tail, whether it's rabbit zonker or whatever have you, with the hair facing up. So this is obviously going to be the belly as you're swimming this through the water. So I want the hair on the underside of the belly. Some people tie it with the leather strip facing up towards them as they're tying. I prefer it down. Do as you wish. Yeah, I don't think that's not too long. We'll leave that as I was considering maybe cutting that back a bit, but I think we'll leave that. That's okay if it's a bit longer. And you want to really make sure you got a decent grip on your rabbit tail here, on your rabbit strip. As you wrap with the thread, it does sometimes have the tendency to twist as you wrap it around, so you don't want it also wrapped around the shank of the hook as you're going. So just maybe always keep an eye out for that. All right, so we got our very simple and easy. We got our rabbit strip tied in. Then we're going to take our piece of pre-cut olive UV chenille, and we're going to just get that started. Okay, make sure that's tied in decently enough, and we'll come back down, and we're just going to let that hang out there for a while. We're not going to do anything with that just yet. And then we have our piece, we got two plumes. Try to get equal plume sort of sizes of marabou, and I've cut these really short, so I cut them so the quills or the stems are no longer there. So these are sort of just individual pieces. So what I do is I typically just wet my fingers a bit and then twist the tips. Okay, and we're going to tie this in backwards so it's facing that way. And this is where it can be a little complicated if things get all tangled up and messed up, but we will do our best. And again, too, with the marabou, tying it in like this, it can have a tendency to want to follow the thread around the shank of the hook, and so you want to be careful with that. Okay, maybe what I need to do is, this is going to be a bit awkward, but because we're on a smaller hook here, I don't want to, the reason I'm doing it with my other hand now is because I don't want to tie it off too close to the ball of the head. And it was kind of going in that direction, so yeah, now I have a little more control now. Okay, make a few wraps like that, bring this back up like that. Okay, and then we'll take our second plume, wet my fingers, and again we'll tie this in backwards as well. And we just want to get that lined up. And you want to try as best you can, obviously, to keep these things, keep the two plumes of hair separated, and again, not wanting to grab onto the thread and follow the thread around the shank of the hook either. And we'll just get that wrapped all the way down. Make sure those things are in there good and proper. Maybe go back up again. And we'll let that sit like that. And now we'll take our chenille. Oh, pardon me. We'll bring this thread back up, actually, up to the base of where I have the, actually I might come just past it. We'll go there, and we'll keep that separated, and then we'll start to tie in our chenille. And again, as you wrap, you can fluff up that chenille and get that sparkle going, that tinsel sparkle. And again, make sure as you're pulling on your chenille, your rabbit strip may have a tendency to want to follow it around the shank of the hook. So just again, make sure to keep that tight as best you can, even though it shouldn't move too much, but just something to be aware of. Because otherwise you could end up with a very crooked looking, your rabbit strip could be all over the place. Okay, so now I've wrapped up to the marabou here, as you see. And now what I'm going to do is maybe wet my fingers again a little bit and just brush this marabou back like this. And I'm going to come on this side now of the marabou and continue that wrap. And we'll come around, and we'll come around again, and I'll just tie it off right there. Give that a good pull. Okay, and we'll just snip off the remainder of the tinsel there, making sure not to catch any of the marabou. And I'll pull that all back and give that a few good securing wraps. And now we will now I'm just going to take a little clip here to keep this all back. And then that'll just allow me to get a good whip finish on it without trapping any marabou or any of that chenille in there too badly. All right, pull that, and we'll just snip this little fuzzy straggler piece of the thread off. Take that clip, and I don't put any head cement or any paste or glue on here at all. I find that it's a bit too close to, with the chenille coming all the way up, and then plus with the marabou, you got to watch not to get any of that stuff on there. Otherwise, the marabou will all get clogged, obviously clunked together, and you don't want to wreck the chenille either. And then so this is all finished. So this is what she looks like. So you got these wings of olive marabou there. You got your rabbit strip tail, and of course the chenille to give it a bit of body and a bit of flash in the water. And this thing will have really good action in the water with these marabou wings, and the rabbit strip tail also has a lot of the water going through that tail. Also gives that a lot of action. So give it a try for yourself. Check it out. Let me know how it works for you. And thanks for watching.